All right, we had a busy day today. A lot of contact and, obviously coming back off of a little bit of a break. We wanted to make sure we got a lot done today and prepared us for a what will be, probably a pretty involved scrimmage on Saturday. So I wanted to get a lot of work in today, which we did. Tempo, inside, drill, all the elements that you want in a very physical practice, which we got done today, and that'll prepare us for a Friday, which will be cleaning up any of the mistakes today, and then Saturday a pretty heavy day. It'll be, the quarterbacks will be live. It'll be a pretty spirited and longer scrimmage opportunity for our guys, because then just really one practice and a kind of a walkthrough leading into the spring game. So good practice today. Got a lot of work, a lot of evaluations to complete after practice today. So, questions?
Jonathan Bonner's foot.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
He has a bad case of turf toe, which is going to require surgery. Very similar to an injury that Prince Shembo suffered in his second year. He'll go up to the Cleveland Clinic, have that done on Tuesday. And we think his recovery will be very similar, where we'll have him back late June, have a chance to have him fully recovered for preseason camp and obviously into the season.
Just going on the injury theme, we haven't seen Sheldon do a lot of contact with, just being cautious with him. And
he had an injection for an IT band inflammation, so we were being cautious with him, coming off the knee, and then did a little bit before we left. And today he was involved in everything. He was involved in 9-on-7 for the first time, half line, and our team stuff. So today was really his first cut it loose day, if you will, and I thought it was a very productive day for him.
And Jarrett, did you get? When you went full blast with him, what did you get from him?
I thought he's been very, very productive for us. We haven't seen, I think what we were all looking for is to see if there was going to be a big drop-off on, that Friday, Saturday, Monday, almost 3 out of 4 days, what kind of drop-off. And there hasn't been he's been sore, but he's continued to progress each and every day. So looks really good.
And offensive line, I know you've talked about the battle at left guard with the two young guys, but what about some of the older guys? Are you seeing some real depth, some legitimate depth developing at the other spots?
Yeah, I think we feel really good with the two young guys that are battling out at left guard. I think a guy that we want to continue to grow and develop is Colin McGovern. We feel like he's got size and athleticism that allows him to play guard and tackle. He's got that ability. Here's a guy that's been in the program a couple of years now that we really want him to shine for us. I think John Montelis is a guy that the spring really now has allowed him to, with the reps that he's taken, to show that he can be a contributor for us. So there's another guy that I think time has really helped him a lot, and the work that he's gotten. He's so physically strong. It's been all the other things, protections and things like that have held him back a little bit. But I think those two guys in particular, as veterans, if you will, that have been in the program for 2+ years, have really helped us in the spring.
In Montelus, conditioning-wise, I mean, that's in the past. Can you?
Yeah,
Can you
yeah, I'm not worried about the conditioning element. It's just, I think consistency, there's, especially going against Coach Van Gorder's defense, there's a lot going on. It's, it's not, they're not lining up in one defense. It's 3 down, 4 down, pressures, movement, all those things really tax you. And I think he's done a pretty good job this spring that, I know in talking to Harry, he feels so much more confident that we can put him in a game and he can help us because he's so physically strong.
Brian, this time last year, or throughout the whole spring, you kind of mentioned you needed more from your wide receivers. How have they developed, and what's the case this spring?
I think we're getting more out of Corey Holmes. We need to get more consistency. We need consistency out of Justin Brent. I think the frontline guys, I think of all of them, Torrey Hunter, those 3 guys just consistently catching the football is what we're looking for. The spring, the guys that I like the most, I'd say, in terms of what they've done, I think Amir Carlisle's probably had the best spring in terms of the growth, at that position, understanding the position. Chris Brown he's been good. He needs to continue to work on his, the fundamentals of in and out of his break and things of that nature. Will has done a good job with a broken hand. I don't like when he drops some balls, but there's a reason for it with a cast on his hand. But he's such a gifted player vertically. I mean, there's nobody really that can touch him down the field when he gets a release. So I guess the answer to your question would be more consistency with the young guys catching the football. But the guy that I think has had the most consistent spring is Amir.
Brian, do you see any way that the quarterback competition doesn't go into August?
Oh no, it'll continue to compete. They'll continue to compete into August, no question. Yeah.
And what do you see as far as is it heated competition, helpful competition? How are they doing in that manner?
Well, I would say that it's been healthy in that both of them come to meetings engaged. They're doing things that carry over from what they're being taught in the meetings, and that carryover I'm seeing on the practice field. So that's healthy, right? It's not a resistance. We're teaching you this, and then you go out on the field and, hey, I'm going to do it my way. So I think it's a healthy, competitive situation. Individually, like today, Everett had a great day in the pocket. His feet were settled. He was calm. He was protecting the football. The things that were flaws for him and problems last year, if you watched him today, Joe Theismann was there today. And I don't want to put words in Joe's mouth, but in our conversation, you would not think that was an issue at all last year, in Joe's eyes, looking at Everett today. Malik was throwing the ball accurate and on time today. So the areas where we've really asked them to improve on, both of them were on their game today. So I think that's healthy competition. They're both trying to get better and working to get better at the areas where we've asked them to really focus on. So I can't see how that's not healthy, and it'll continue to work to get us better as a football team because they're getting better every day.
Brian, when you had pro day the other day, we saw Ishak pop in, and watching that, I wondered if you two had a chance to finally sit down and talk about things and maybe talk about the future.
We did not. All we had a chance to say was hello and how you doing, but we did not get a chance to talk in any further depth. He's going to be back up here after the spring game, and I'll get a chance to spend more time. He was short on time. He had to get back to Chicago for some he had a prior commitment, so I'll get a chance to spend some more time with him. We're planning on doing that sometime in April.
And is that when you believe you'll get some clarity on what's going on with him, or do you have that now?
I don't know if that I have full clarity on it. We know that there are some hurdles for him academically that he has to work through, and he knows that as well. I think what we'll try to really get some clarity on is, you know, what his intentions are academically more than anything else.
And when you talk about hurdles academically, you're talking about things that he could take care of in the summertime?
Things that he'll have to take care of in the summertime, just to get the ball moving for his ability to be reinstated.
Coach, I know Coach Van Gorder has always spoken very highly of James Onawalu, and he's at the head of the depth chart there. I'm not sure that we see, you know, what it is that stands out about him. I mean, what has allowed him to make a transition from a pretty crazy transition from receiver to outside linebacker?
Yeah. I'd say that his ability in spread offense is to cover down on the perimeter. So, you know, when he's asked to play out in space, his ability to play in coverage, if the ball gets thrown out on the perimeter, he can handle that slot receiver, protect the ball being thrown out there, and do a very good job in coverage out there. So it's his cover down ability and his ability that if we are asking him to hold up in space on the perimeter, he does a very, very good job there. Now, if you put a tight end on the field and you want to play, you know, physical football, that's not what his role is. You know, we would make a situational substitution. Today, Jalen Smith played that position all day today. Jalen played that position for us as a true freshman. If you remember in Coach Diaco's defense, he played out at that drop Sam position on the perimeter. Jalen played that all day today. So Jalen now has played the Sam, and he's playing the Will. We feel like now he has his reads down, he has a comfort level playing inside. We can now look to a bigger physical presence on the perimeter with a James Onawalu. So if you want to put a tight end in there, you want to play more physical, we got a guy like Jalen who could step up and play there.
Right. And allows you some flexibility inside with the players you
Yeah, because I think we've all talked about with Joe Schmidt, you know, now, and Jarrett Grace, and Niles Morgan, we got to find a place for all these guys. And Tavon Coney, you know, those guys are inside guys, you know, and so we've got to be able to get all these guys on the field. Jalen now allows us in certain situations to move him out on the perimeter if we want to get, let's say we wanted to get Joe Schmidt and Jarrett Grace on the same on the field with Jalen, we can now do that. So we had to be able to look at that to get the right, you know, set of linebackers on the field at the same time.
Coach, you have three sophomores that two, Jay Hayes and Niles Morgan, that kind of were thrust in last year. Just wanted to kind of see how they're doing up to this point in time. And another guy that stood out to some of us in the time we've seen is Nick Watkins. Can you just kind of talk about where those guys are and what you've seen from them this spring?
Yeah, I think both of them are ascending. If we were to use, you know, in a general sense, right? We don't, ascending for us is really the best way to put it for where we see them. They're not at a championship level, but it would be unfair for us to put them in that category at this time in their career. But they are getting better at their craft. Jay Hayes is so much better at technique, responsibility for his job. He was a bit of a whirling dervish, if you will. He was just kind of thrashing away and doing what he could do in there. So much more fundamentally sound in his jobs, and he's really done well I know Coach Gilmore was pleased with his work even today when I was down in 9-on-7. And Nick Watkins has really taken a big step up this spring. He's got a way to go. And again, I'm going to say ascending in the sense that I don't want to put them in a category where they're ready to start for us, but they're definitely making progress. He's really put himself in a position where he, he's challenged Devin Butler to the point where, he's equaled out the reps over there.
And you had said with him, it was a confidence thing as far as being confident in what he's being taught. Has that really been a thing for him as far as why he's been able to make the jump that he has, knowing that he still has a long way to go?
I would say it's confidence, and the game requires at this level a maturity and a sense of urgency that he lacked a little bit of that, and I think he's gaining that, and so I think those things are coming, and they are showing themselves on a day-to-day basis. So I like both of those guys, and where they've made the progress this spring is where we would hoped.
You had talked in the past last year with Elijah Shoemate and Max about being more productive in the pass game and different things. They seem to really be progressing along, playing. It seems to us that they're playing a little bit more assuredness. Is that kind of what you guys are seeing from those two guys?
Yes, without a question. I think, the only drawback there is that, this is their last year. Well, Max has got another year after this year, but it just seems like it went too quick, for both those guys. You wish as though you had one more year with those guys, and Max he does have another year, but it just seems like, it's year 3 this fall for Max. He's already 3 years into the program, and I think that's our only regret. But both of those guys have made the kind of progress necessary for them to stand out there, and us feel very confident about, the progress that they've made and where we are. Depth's the concern right now for us, more in developing the guys with them.
What has been the progress of Durham Smythe at tight end at this point? Has he gained some separation?
Oh yeah, he's clearly the #1 tight end. And he's the #1 tight end in all facets. His ability to pass catch, route run, retention of the offense, inline blocking on the perimeter, knowledge of the game. He's a kid that stays injury free. He's got toughness. He's got to continue to work to get bigger and stronger, but he's got all the tools, to be an exceptional tight end. He was lacking the opportunity more than anything else.
You've been very successful with double tight end alignments. Do you see somebody
Sure.
confident with maybe helping in that capacity?
Yeah, I think Tyler Luatua will continue to progress in that area. We like Tyler. He got a chance to, in the LSU game, I thought he was outstanding in his blocking. I think he gained a lot of confidence in that game. I think you'll continue to see him. He really needs to work on his route running and ball catching consistency. But inline blocking is solid. Nick Wisher is a really talented pass catcher. He's getting bigger and stronger. He's up in the 240s. I think he's going to be a really good tight end for us and may be able to get on the field for us this year. And Chase Hounshell is getting better every day. He's been on a faster track in the last couple of days towards getting more and more reps. And he's big, he's strong, he's physical, and he's got the want to. So right now I'm fairly pleased with where we are. We could have 4 tight ends there that could contribute at that position, which would really help our offense.
And then Mike McGlinchey came in as a tight end. How has his development at that tackle position? And he was still kind of in the raw stage last year.
Yeah, for Mike, it's really all about body control. Taking that large frame and controlling his movement. You know, if it's right in front of him, he's going to knock him out. It's the ability to handle movement and, obviously redirecting. When you're that long, it's really handling those quick movements, and that's really what he has to continue to work on, those quick, sudden movements. And, we're going to get a lot of that. We're a big group up front. You're not going to just line up and let us block you, because we'll knock you off the ball. So that's what Mike needs to continue to work on. His sets have been very consistent. I think it's just that movement element and really controlling his body is where I know Harry spent a lot of time with him.
2/3 of the way through spring ball, how is CJ's transition to running back going?
Surprisingly well. CJ's not a natural football player. He's a natural athlete. He can dunk the basketball. He can run track. He can do so many things effortlessly, in a sense, but it doesn't come to him like, just naturally. So I quite frankly thought it would be a more difficult transition for him, but it has come a lot easier than I thought. He looks like a natural running back, can see things, and he's exceptional at the second level. He's got better speed than any of our backs, and he's almost 218 pounds. He's a big, long back, and he's still running routes for us too. So he knows the passing game, But it's been nice because it's opened up a lot of reps for Torrey Hunter, which he's needed. So that's been great. So Torrey's gotten a ton of work behind Amir Carlisle at the Z position, and it's really allowed us to develop CJ. And we've been very, very pleased with his work at the running back.